The stars above Earth were quiet now. No enemy ships, no burning trails, no sounds of war. Only silence. But for Commander Rehan, silence did not mean peace. It only meant waiting. He stood on the bridge of the Iron Flame, the largest ship in the new human fleet. Its black hull stretched like a shadow across the sky, hiding weapons built with pain, memory, and fire. 5 years ago, the war had ended, but no one on Earth had forgotten how it began. Humanity had reached out to the stars with open hands. They had offered friendship, science, and peace. Many alien empires had accepted. Smiles were shared, treaties signed, and trade began. For a short time, hope filled the galaxy. But then, the betrayal came, without warning. Those same empires turned against Earth. They cut off supplies, broke trade, and sent fleets to attack colonies. They said Earth had grown too fast. They said humans were dangerous. But deep inside, it was fear. They feared what humans could become. Earth's colonies burned. The skies of Mars turned red. The outer stations fell one by one. Billions died. Families vanished. Rehan had lost his parents. In the fall of Yema Station, he had watched the screen in silence as the last signal came through. His mother's voice was calm, but her words stayed in his mind like cold iron. Be strong. We believe in you. Humanity did not break. It rose. From the ashes of war, humans built new weapons, smarter ships, and stronger armor. But more than that, they built a memory that would never be forgotten. Every name lost was written in steel. Every city burned was remembered in fire. Now, 5 years later, the fleet was ready. Earth had healed, but not completely. The wounds were still fresh. The people wanted justice, not revenge. They wanted answers, not lies, and above all, they wanted the traitors to face the truth. Rehan's voice echoed through the Iron Flame. All captains, report in. One by one, voices replied. Captain Fard of the Storm Blade, Commander Lena of the Silver Path, General Banu of the Sky Arrow. Each ship carried soldiers, engineers, and researchers. They were not here to destroy planets. They were here to bring truth. But if the truth was hidden, they would uncover it. If the truth was denied, they would bring it with force. Rehan looked at the star map glowing in front of him. The first target was clear. Planet Numa, home of the Zork people. Once allies, now remembered as the first to betray Earth. During the war, the Zork leaders had opened the gates to Earth's enemies. They had allowed enemy fleets to pass through their space and strike human colonies from behind. They had said nothing. They had helped the fire spread. Rehan tapped the map. Set course to Numa, maximum speed. The engines roared as the fleet moved into deep space. Thousands of soldiers stood ready. One of them was Zara, pilot of the lead attack shuttle. She was only 17 during the war. Her home, the colony of Ryan 3, had fallen in the first wave. She had escaped in a broken ship with only 5 people. She had trained every day since then. Now she wore the silver badge of Earth's elite pilots. Zara checked her shuttle systems. Her hands were calm, but her heart burned. She still saw the faces of her friends every time she closed her eyes. She had promised them she would return, and now she would keep that promise, not with fire, but with truth. As the fleet traveled through space, Rehan called a meeting of the main officers. The meeting room was small, but every person inside carried the weight of Earth. Maps, files, and images of the war were spread across the table. Planet Numa must face what they did. Rehan said, but we are not here to destroy. We are here to remind. Their people must know the truth. Their leaders must answer. General Banu nodded. We will take the city center and search their archives. No harm to civilians. But if they resist, we move forward. Captain Fard looked at Rehan. What if they tried to lie again? Rehan's voice stayed calm. Then we show them what silence brought to us. After the meeting, Rehan stood alone in his quarters. A small photo sat on the table. His parents stood smiling, their arms around a younger Rehan. Behind them, Yema Station floated like a dream. He did not speak, but he touched the frame gently before turning away. The ship's alarm rang once. They had reached the edge of Numa's system. The planet floated ahead, blue and green. Beautiful from space, it looked peaceful. But peace without truth was not real. Rehan walked to the main deck, opened a channel to the Zork leaders. A voice came through. It was soft, tired. "This is High Speaker Vano of Numa. Welcome, Commander Rehan. We did not expect your visit." Rehan's reply was short. "We remember. We are here to speak." Vano's voice paused. "That was 5 years ago. We thought Earth had moved forward." Rehan's eyes narrowed. "We moved forward, but we did not forget, and now, it is time for you to remember." Silence followed. Then Vano said, "You, Maylan." Ren turned to Zera's shuttle team. "Go with care. No shots unless fired upon. But find the truth." Zera saluted. "We will." As the shuttles dropped through Numa's skies, the people below looked up. Some pointed, some ran, some simply stood still. For 5 years, they had told themselves Earth would not return. But now, the sky itself had brought the answer. Zera looked out of her window as they passed over tall towers, glowing lights, and green gardens. The city looked clean. It looked rich. Too rich for a planet that claimed to suffer during the war. The shuttle landed. Soldiers stepped out. No resistance, only silence. Zera moved to the front. Her voice was steady. "We are not your enemy. We are your reminder." Far behind, on the iron flame, Rehan watched the screen as his people stepped forward. He said nothing, but inside, he knew this was only the beginning. The war was over, but the real mission had begun. Now, they would hunt. Now, the traitors would remember. The air on Numa was light and sweet, filled with soft winds and distant bird calls. But for the soldiers from Earth, it carried something colder. It carried the memory of betrayal. Every step they took on Zork soil reminded them of the war. The lies and the screams they had heard through broken signals. Zera led the first ground team. Her black and gray armor bore the symbol of the Earth Union. Her boots touched the clean white stone of Numa's main landing plaza. Around her, the city of Vorten stood quiet. No soldiers, no weapons raised. Only silent eyes watching from windows and rooftops. Behind her marched 20 officers, each alert, each ready, not to fight but to uncover truth. As the team advanced through the city streets, Rehan's voice came through Zera's earpiece. "No threats detected. All patrol drones report clear. Proceed to the council tower. High Speaker Vana waits." Zera answered, "Copy. We are moving forward." The council tower stood in the heart of Vorten. It was tall, silver, and shaped like a spiral. It had been built during the time of peace, back when humans and Zork leaders had signed trade pacts and offered gifts. Now it stood like a blade, pointing to the sky. Zera reached the tower gates. Two Zork guards in gold armor stood at the entrance. They held no weapons. One of them stepped forward. His face was long and smooth, marked with green lines that moved when he blinked. "You are welcome, Commander Zera," he said with a bow. "High Speaker Vano is inside. He asks that you come alone." Zera shook her head. "I am not here for games. I will enter, but my team waits outside. If I do not return in 15 minutes, they enter." The guard nodded without protest. "As you wish." Zera walked through the open doors. The hall inside was wide and bright, with walls lined in soft blue light. The floor was polished stone. At the end of the hall stood a single chair. High Speaker Vano sat there, hands folded, eyes calm. He was old now. His long white robe dragged along the floor as he rose to greet her. "Commander Zera," he said in a deep voice, "I offer peace to you and your people." Zera did not shake his hand. "Peace comes after truth." Vano lowered his hand. "I understand." She took a step closer. "Why did your people open the gates to our enemies during the war? Why did you let them pass through your space and strike our colonies? Why did you watch us burn and say nothing?" Vano sighed. "I cannot change the past, but I will speak it. We were afraid. The Cerny Alliance warned us that if we helped Earth, they would destroy us next. Our council believed them, so we stood aside." Zera's voice became colder. "You did not just stand aside. You helped them. You gave them maps. You gave them access." Vano nodded slowly. Yes, our mistake was not silence. It was fear. And fear made us weak. Zara looked into his eyes. My home was destroyed. Ryan 3 was lost because of your choice. Do you know what it feels like to hear your mother's voice for the last time through static? Do you know what it feels like to drift in space for days, waiting for death? Vano lowered his eyes. I do not, but I do carry the shame of those. Who caused it? That is why I let you come. Zara paused. Her hands clenched for a moment, then loosened. You will give us your records, she said. Full access to your war files, names of all who made the choice, details of the deals you made, and all recordings of your council meetings during the war. Vano looked surprised. You do not wish to punish us, Zara replied. This is not punishment. This is memory. Earth will build a hall where all these records will be shown. Your name will be known, not erased. Vano slowly walked to a side wall and pressed a blue panel. A drawer opened, revealing a small silver cube. He handed it to Zara. Everything is inside. I did not ask for mercy, only for understanding. Zara took the cube without a word and turned back toward the door. The guards opened the gates, and her team moved forward as she stepped outside. We have the records, she said. Mission complete. Rehan watched from the iron flame. The transmission was clear. The records had been received. He closed his eyes for a brief moment. One step had been taken. Many more remained. That night, Zara sat near the edge of the landing site, looking at the stars. The lights of Numa shone in the distance, but she looked upward. Lieutenant Rafi, her closest team member, walked over and sat beside her. You did well today, he said. Zara kept her eyes on the sky. It didn't feel like victory. Rafi nodded. Maybe that's not what we're here for. Zara glanced at him. Then what are we here for? He thought for a moment before answering. We're here to make sure the galaxy never forgets. If we let the past stay buried, it will return. We are not here to fight. We are here to light a path. Zara gave a small nod. The wind moved through her short hair, and for a moment, she felt a weight lift. The next morning, the fleet left Numa. The people of the city watched the sky. Some whispered, some bowed their heads. For the first time in 5 years, they had seen the faces of those they had left behind. Rehan stood once again on the bridge of the iron flame. The silver cube sat in his hand. Its surface glowed gently. We move next to the Yaren Belt, he said. Captain Fard looked up. The Oral colonies. Rehan nodded. Yes. Their betrayal cost us 7 colonies. We will ask for answers there. As the stars shifted and the engines roared to life, Rehan spoke quietly to himself. One step done. The path continues. The war was over, but the mission was not. Humanity remembered. And it would not stop. Not until every shadow faced the light. The ships of Earth's fleet moved through the Yaren Belt, a wide stretch of space filled with sharp rocks and drifting shadows. It was silent and cold. Once, it had been home to trade ships and research stations. Now, it was the grave of 7 lost human colonies. Commander Rehan stood at the front window of the Iron Flame. He watched as asteroid fields passed by. His mind returned to old reports, to old messages from those colonies, begging for help before they vanished. Beside him, Captain Fard read aloud the data from the Council records. The Oral species shared our defense codes with the Cerny Alliance. They also gave detailed maps of the colony routes. That is how the enemies broke our lines. Rehan's voice was steady. The Oral were our partners in science. We gave them access to our systems. We trusted them. They used that trust to open the door. He tapped the screen. A planet appeared. It was gray and covered in dust. Beneath its surface, hidden deep in rock, were the mountain cities of the Oral. This is where we begin, Rehan said. Pilot Zara, now back on duty, led the scout team. She flew her shuttle low above the surface, watching for signs of movement. The Oral cities had no towers, no lights, and no open roads. They had always hidden their homes underground. Zara's voice came through the fleet's main channel. No defense systems active, no signal jammers, all quiet. To quiet, Rehan gave the order. Land near their capital gate, take a translator, and a recording drone. We go in peace. but we record everything. The landing site was near a narrow crack in a mountain wall. From above, it looked like just a dark line, but sensors showed a large tunnel inside. Zara and her team stepped out in full armor and approached the gate. The wind blew dust around their feet. The silence was heavy. Suddenly, the gate opened. No sound, just a slow movement of stone sliding into stone. A tall figure stepped out. It was an Oral elder. His skin was pale blue, and his body moved with slow grace. His face was long, with eyes that did not blink. "I am Dalen, voice of the Oral," he said. Zara raised her helmet visor. "We are from Earth. You know why we are here." Dalen nodded. "Yes, you come for truth." Ran watched the scene from the command room. He turned to General Banu. "Prepare the mobile archive team. We are taking records from their central memory vaults. Inside the mountain, the halls were smooth and lit with soft light. The walls were covered in carvings, not of battles, but of stars and machines. The Oral were known for their knowledge, not their strength. But knowledge in the wrong hands had caused more pain than weapons. Dalen led Zara's team into a large hall. Other Oral watched from the sides, saying nothing. Zara stopped in the center. "Your silence helped destroy our people." Why? Dalen looked up at a glowing map of stars on the ceiling. "We did not see you as enemies, but we feared your speed, your growth, your strength. Our leaders believed the galaxy would not survive if humans took too much power." Zara's voice was firm. "So you gave our secrets to our enemies?" "Yes," Dalen replied. "We believed it would slow you down, not break you. But we were wrong." Zara stepped forward. 7 colonies were lost, 7 families gone, children gone, because you feared us more than you feared those who kill. Dalen bowed his head. "We carry that weight." Rehan's voice came through Zara's earpiece. "Tell him we want the full archive, every message, every plan, every name, and we want him to speak those names aloud for our memory files." Zara passed the message. Dalen nodded. He led them deeper into the vault. There, in a round room filled with glowing stones and floating screens, the truth was stored. Rehan joined them in person now, arriving with a second team. He stood before the Oral elder. "You knew what would happen," Rehan said, "and yet you chose fear." Dalen met his eyes. "Yes, and now we stand before you, not to beg, but to admit." One by one, Dalen spoke the names of Oral leaders who had shared data during the war. He gave times, places, and orders. The drone recorded everything. Rehan said nothing as he listened. His face showed no anger, only focus. When the list ended, Dalen stepped back. "What will you do with this knowledge?" Rehan answered. "We will place it in the memory hall on Earth. The galaxy will know who made war with silence." Dalen asked, "Do you come to punish?" Rehan shook his head. "Justice is not about pain. It is about truth. Your people will keep their homes, but your leaders will be named. Let your children grow with honesty, not lies." Dalen bowed. "Then perhaps one day we may speak as friends again." Rehan gave no promise. He turned and walked away. As the fleet left the Yaren belt, news of Earth's mission began to spread. Across nearby systems, other species took notice. Some watched in fear, others in respect. Messages came in. Some offered support. Others warned against moving farther. On board the Iron Flame, Zara sat with Lieutenant Rafi. They reviewed the new files. Rafi said, "It feels strange to walk into enemy ground and leave without firing a shot." Zara nodded. "Because this mission is not about destruction. It is about light. Every truth we uncover lights a path. It teaches those who watch from afar." Rafi asked, "What if they still fear us?" Zara looked at the stars. "Then they will learn that justice is not always fire. Sometimes it is memory." Rehan entered the room. "Prepare for our next stop." We received a signal. A human outpost in the Velen sector. One that vanished during the war. "We may have found something worse than betrayal." Zara stood up. "Human traitors," Rehan nodded. "Yes, and they must be faced too." The fleet changed course. The stars ahead glowed faintly. Rehan looked at them with calm eyes. The path was long, but the mission remained clear. Not revenge, not fear, only justice, and the truth that would shape the future. The fleet moved toward the villain sector, where no stars sang and no ships dared to stay long. It was once the home of Velanine, a peaceful research outpost run by Earth and its closest allies. But during the war, the outpost went silent. No distress call, no signal, no trace. Many believed it was destroyed. Others whispered that something darker had happened. Commander Rehen stood on the main deck of the Iron Flame, reading the new message that had reached them. It was short and cold. Do not come here. This place belongs to no one. Forget what you lost. Zare stood beside him. Who sent it? Captain Fard answered. The signal came from the surface of Velanine. It is not a machine signal. It is human. But the voice is masked. Rehen narrowed his eyes. That station was built by Earth. Our people work there. If someone is using it now, we need to know who they are and what they are doing. The fleet slowed as they reached the orbit of Velanine. The planet looked silent, its surface covered in dark brown and black soil. No signs of life, but hidden below, deep under the rocky crust, the old outpost still lived. Zare's scout ship dropped first. She flew over mountains and broken ground until she reached the hidden entrance of the station. It was sealed behind a steel gate, half covered in dust. But the sensors showed movement inside. Zare spoke into her mic. This station is not abandoned. Someone is here. Rehen gave the command. We are going in. No weapons raised unless fired upon. Full recording begins now. The landing team included Rehen, Zara, Lieutenant Rafi, and 2 engineers. They entered the station through the old side gate, using override codes from Earth's archives. The door opened with a low sound, and the smell of metal and oil filled the air inside. The lights were dim, but the system still worked. Machines blinked. Walls were marked with the old Earth Union flags, now faded and torn. In the distance, a loudspeaker played soft music, something human, but slow and broken. Zara moved carefully. This place feels wrong. As they moved deeper, they passed storage rooms, labs, and offices. Many were empty. Some showed signs of use: food packs, power cells, new tools. Someone had been living here for years. In the command room, the team found a screen still active. A message blinked. Access locked. Enter command key. Rehen looked at the screen. This station was never fully shut down. Someone used our codes to take control. Suddenly, a voice came from the speaker above. You should not have come here, Rehen. This place was buried for a reason. The team froze. Rehen replied. Who are you? The voice answered. You know me. A door opened behind them. A man walked in. His uniform was old, but clean. His hair was gray, and his face had deep lines. But Rehen knew him at once. Kavi, Rehen said. Kavi had once been an officer in Earth's command. He had trained under the same academy as Rehen. He had disappeared during the war. You betrayed us, Rehen said. You vanished while colonies burned. You were part of the defense plan. Kavi nodded. I saw what was coming. I chose to survive. I knew the war would crush both sides. So I came here and offered something better. Zara stepped forward. You sold us out. You used this station to send tech to both sides. Kavi smiled. I sent weapons, data, even maps. And I was paid well. Do you know how many races wanted your designs? Earth is strong. Even your broken pieces are worth gold. Rehen's voice remained calm. How many humans died because of your deals? Kavi shrugged. Enough, but fewer than would have died if the war had continued longer. My work helped end it. Rehen stepped closer. No, your work helped others strike faster. You shortened the war by deepening the pain. And then you built this place to hide while we buried our dead. Kavi looked at him. The galaxy fears us, Rehen. You know that, even now. But fear can be useful. You are chasing truth. But truth is not always clean. Some truths burn. Rehen nodded once. Yes, but some truths shine. He gave a signal. The engineers moved forward and began downloading all station data, every deal, every buyer, every shipment, every message Kavi had sent. Zara turned to Kavi. You are coming with us. Kavi laughed. To be tried on Earth, you will make me an example. But what will that change? Rehen answered. It will show that even our own must answer. Kavi raised his hands. Then take me. Back on the Iron Flame, the files were opened and studied. The reports were clear. Kavi had contacted multiple alien buyers during the war. He sold Earth's drone tech to the highest bidders. He shared mining routes. He even offered details about the Yaren Belt attacks. Ren sat in the war room, staring at the screen. The list of buyers included some species that had never even taken part in the war. They had simply paid for stolen tools. General Banu said, "This is worse than we thought. The galaxy is full of silent hands." They played both sides, all for profit. Zara asked, "What will we do with them?" Rehan stood. "We name them. We show their deals to every planet. Let no one hide behind false peace again." Zara added, and Kavi Rehan looked out the window. He returns to Earth. Let the people judge him. As the fleet left Velenine, messages from across the galaxy filled the comm lines. Some asked for talks. Some warned them to stop. Others stayed silent, knowing their names were now part of the data Earth had taken. Zara sat alone in her chamber, reading one of the files. It showed a list of buyers who had ordered parts stolen from her own destroyed colony. Her hand trembled, but her voice stayed steady. "We are not just hunting lies," she said. "We are cleaning the roots of truth." Rehan walked past her room and paused. He heard her words and nodded quietly. The mission had started with fire, but now it moved with light. The path was longer than they thought, but they would not turn back. The stars held many stories, and Earth would uncover everyone. The human fleet moved deeper into the Velen sector. Their next destination, a hidden base on the planet Velen 7. This base had once been a peaceful research outpost before the war, but now it held a secret darker than anyone had imagined. Commander. Rand studied the latest reports. Satellite images showed the base was active, but not under Earth's control. Instead, it was a fortress guarded by humans who had betrayed their own kind. Zara sat beside Ren on the command deck, a human base, working against Earth. She said softly, "It is hard to believe." Rehan looked at the star map. Betrayal is not always from outside. Sometimes it comes from within. The fleet approached Velen 7 carefully. The planet's surface was rough, covered with rocky deserts and deep canyons. The base was hidden inside one of these canyons, protected by high walls and automated defenses. Zara prepared her shuttle for landing. "We must be ready for anything," she said. "These people have Earth's technology. They know our moves." As they landed near the base, Rehan and Zara led a small team to the entrance. The air was dry and still. Guards watched from towers, but they did not fire. Instead, a voice came from the loudspeakers. "Welcome, Commander Rehan," the voice said. "We have been expecting you." A man appeared on the viewing screen. His name was Kavi. Once a trusted officer, he had vanished during the war. Now, he was the leader of this traitor base. Rehan's jaw tightened. "Kavi, you have sold Earth's secrets to our enemies." "Why?" Kavi smiled. "I chose survival over loyalty. The galaxy is a place for the strong, not the kind. I used what I had to make sure I lived." Zara stepped forward. "You hurt innocent people, families, children." Kavi shrugged. "War is not kind. I only did what was needed." Rehan's voice was firm. "What you did was betrayal. You endangered millions. You broke the trust of your own people." Kavi laughed softly. "Trust is a luxury in war. I traded for power, and I have it now." Rehan raised his hand. "Your power ends today." The guards suddenly raised their weapons, but before they could fire, Zara's team launched an electronic attack that disabled the base's defenses. The humans inside were stunned. Rehan's soldiers moved quickly. They captured Kavi and secured the base. Inside, they found rooms filled with stolen Earth technology, weapons, and detailed plans of human defenses. Every device was marked with the Earth Union symbol, but they were now tools of smuggling and betrayal. Zara found a wall covered with maps showing secret routes for trading weapons across the galaxy. Some led to enemy planets, others to unknown buyers. She shook her head. "This is worse than we thought. The Traitors did not just sell weapons. They built a network." Rehan nodded. "And we will break it." The team began collecting data and preparing to send it to Earth. Kavi was held in a secure cell. He showed no fear. When Rehan visited him, Kavi looked calm. "Do you really believe your people will forgive me?" Rehan looked him in the eyes. "Forgiveness is for those who earn it. You will face justice." Kavi smiled bitterly. "Justice is just another word for punishment." "But punishment will not change the galaxy," Rehan said. "No, but truth will." News of the capture spread quickly. Across the fleet, soldiers felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were not just fighting aliens. They were cleansing their own ranks. Zara stood on the bridge, watching the stars. "I thought the worst enemies were out there," she said, pointing to the dark space beyond the window. "But sometimes the enemy is closer." Rehan joined her. "That is why we must be stronger. We must protect not just Earth, but what Earth stands for." As the fleet prepared to leave Velen 7, Rehan made a broadcast to the galaxy. "We bring the traitors to light. Let no one hide behind masks. Earth remembers. We will seek truth wherever it hides. We are not just survivors. We are guardians." The message spread through the stars. Some listened with hope, others with fear, but all knew that humanity was no longer hiding. Rehan looked at the screen again. "Prepare for the next mission. We have names from other systems. The galaxy is waking." Zara smiled faintly. "Then let us be ready." The war was not over. It had only changed form. Now, humanity hunted in the dark, and no traitor would escape their memory. The stars outside the iron flame glowed softly in the deep black of space. Commander Rehan stood on the bridge, watching the distant points of light. The galaxy was changing. The war was over, but the hunt had only just begun. Messages from many systems now came to Earth's fleet. Some sent warnings, others offers of help. Some species, once quiet, were beginning to speak. They had watched humanity's courage and justice. They saw that Earth did not seek destruction, but truth. Captain Fard sat near Rehan. "The galaxy is waking. Many want to join us." Rehan nodded slowly. "It is time to send a message." Zara, standing nearby, smiled faintly. "A message of hope or of strength, both," Rehan answered. A broadcast was prepared. It was sent to every system in range. The message was simple but powerful. "We come not to conquer. We come to remind loyalty and truth are the foundation of peace. Earth remembers the pain of betrayal. We offer a choice. Join us in building a future based on trust, or stand aside and remember what silence brings." The broadcast was sent through every channel. Ships in distant systems paused. Planets listened. Leaders red dot in the weeks that followed. New ships joined the fleet. Some carried gifts. Others carried weapons, but pledged to use them for defense, not war. Many species stepped forward to name others who had betrayed Earth. The galaxy began to change. On the Iron Flame, Zara and Lieutenant Rafi studied new reports. "This is unlike the war," Zara said. "We are building an alliance," Rafi nodded. "But it is fragile. Some still fear us. Some want revenge." Rehan spoke quietly. "We must show them that justice is not revenge. We are different now." 1. Morning. A new signal arrived from the deep systems near Gornax Prime, the home of the Supreme Council of Betrayers. It was a call for parley. The leaders wished to speak. Rehan stood tall. "Prepare for talks. We will listen, but we will not forget." Zara watched him. "Do you believe they will change?" Rehan smiled gently. "I believe everyone deserves a chance. But the galaxy must see that Earth will not be broken again." The fleet moved slowly toward Gornax Prime. The stars grew brighter as they approached the home system of those who had started the war. The galaxy held its breath. In the council halls, humans met with alien leaders. They spoke of peace, of justice, of memory. The talks were difficult. Old wounds were opened. Some leaders denied. Others admitted. But Earth stood firm, Ren said. "Trust is built on truth. We will share our records. We will show the world who stood with us and who turned away." As days passed, the alliance grew stronger. New leaders rose who believed in peace. Old enemies began to speak as friends. Zara stood on the bridge one evening. The stars stretched wide before her. "We have come far." Rehan joined her. "And still, the journey continues." He looked to the sky. The war was just the beginning. Now, we build a future. Zara smiled. A future where no one is forgotten, where trust is real. Rehan placed a hand on her shoulder. Together, we will shape the stars. The stars no longer whispered only of war. They now spoke of hope, of unity, of a new age led by humanity's courage and truth. The fleet stood at the edge of a new era. The stars ahead were bright, full of promise and unknown challenges. Commander Rehan looked out from the bridge of the Iron Flame, feeling the weight of the past but also the hope of the future. 5 years had passed since the war's end. 5 years of hunting those who had betrayed humanity, and 5 years of rebuilding trust across the galaxy. The mission had been difficult, sometimes painful, but it had changed the galaxy forever. Rehan turned to Zara, who stood quietly beside him. We have done much, but there is still more to do. Zara smiled softly. We showed the galaxy who we are, not just fighters, but guardians of truth. Truth is the foundation of peace, Rehan agreed, and peace is the path to the future. The memory hall on Earth was now complete. It stood as a monument to those lost and as a reminder of the cost of betrayal. The hall held records from every system, every betrayal, and every act of courage. Visitors came from all over the galaxy to see it, to learn, to remember. As the fleet prepared for their next journey, a new message arrived from the Supreme Council of Allies. Leaders from many species asked to join Earth's cause fully. They wanted to sign a new treaty, one based on honesty and cooperation. Rehan called a meeting of all captains. This is what we fought for. A future where no one hides behind lies. A future where we stand together. Captain Farr nodded. The galaxy is watching us. Our actions now will shape the years to come. Zara spoke. We must keep being the light in the darkness, not just hunters, but teachers, not just warriors, but friends. The fleet moved as one toward the new meeting point. As they traveled, Rehan thought of the many faces he had seen on this journey, faces of loss, of pain, but also of hope. The council meeting was held on the neutral planet of Solara. Leaders gathered in a large hall beneath a sky filled with twin suns. The air was warm, and the sounds of distant rivers added peace to the place. Rehan stepped forward to speak. We come from a past of war and betrayal, but we choose to look forward. We choose trust. We choose unity. Other leaders nodded and stepped forward to speak their own words of hope and promise. The treaty was signed with simple words and strong hearts. It was a promise to share knowledge, to protect each other, and to never forget the lessons of the past. After the ceremony, Zara and Rehan stood outside under the bright sky. This is only the beginning, Zara said, but it feels like a new dawn. Rehan smiled. Yes, the war was just the beginning. Now, we build a future worthy of the stars. Together, they watched the twin suns set. The light touched the faces of those who stood with them. The galaxy was no longer a place of fear. It was a place of hope. The path had been long and hard, but humanity had proven itself strong, kind, and wise. The stars held many stories, some dark, some bright. But now, thanks to those who fought, those who remembered, and those who hoped, a new story was beginning. One of peace, one of trust, one of light.